What's up, guys? I'm Troy Johnson, and I chose to do my capstone project on effectively training student staff. For those of you that don't know, I am a manager of facilities and events for University of West Georgia Athletics. So I oversee football, women's basketball, baseball, softball, cheer, and our larger third-party events. So any commencements, the Harlem Globetrotters, any concerts, comedy shows, the step show, that's all me. So if you've ever come through during those times, you know that I have quite a bit of student staff. We do security and parking and ticket scanning and ticket selling. So I chose to really dive in and look at our training methods and potentially rehaul some of our training methods, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't work, and acting from there. So just in this overview, in this presentation alone, I really had to look at how to streamline effective training methods for new and returning student staff members. Looking at those training methods and their effectiveness, I thought was the most important. What worked, what didn't work, like I said. I'm also going to discuss some survey results. And then lastly, I'm going to discuss kind of my findings and what I would like to do and implement moving forward. So the overall goals of this project, I was really excited to do this project. I came into the situation and I did not have autonomy on the student staff. About a year and a half ago, me and my coworker Caleb were given autonomy on the student staff to completely rehaul it, have new hiring measures, new training methods, kind of the whole nine yards. Obviously, there's still growing pains in this. So the overall goal was to enhance the performance primarily during game days and enhance efficiency during setups and breakdowns of various events and contests. Along with that, to gain valuable feedback from the current staff on present training methods and for them to recommend training methods that they think would work. A lot of that was in the survey results. I wanted to be able to give my staff the resources to succeed in their roles by allowing them to have 24/7 access to training modules like videos and a student handbook for various roles. And lastly, the most important part of this is we wanted to create a more balanced staff by not having to rely heavily on 5 to 6 students to carry out most shifts and responsibilities, whether that was setup and tear down or running security or parking. I wanted to create a more balanced staff by having everyone be as close to interchangeable as possible. So the first training change I had was I created some videos. They were a little corny. That's okay, but I think they got the point across. I created a set of 7 videos and shorts on a YouTube channel. Basically, the videos I did were how to pull the bleachers off of the wall with the electric remote. I showed them how to implement our brackets for our guardrails into the bleachers. I showed them how to construct the guardrails onto the bleachers. I showed them how to lower and raise our goals and curtains that we have in the Coliseum. For those of you that have had class in there, they can be tricky just with all the different court directions. So I thought that would be a good opportunity for them to see. Setting up the scoreboard for game day, whether it was a volleyball or a basketball game or any other event we may have in there. Showed them how to create court cleaner, the court cleaning solution we use to keep our floor, our center court, pretty firm and stick, pretty good with traction. I thought these worked really well. Some verbal feedback from students suggested videos to see how to perform certain tasks. We hire a lot of athletes and a lot of people that do have other jobs, so they're not always able to train or able to attend our training workshops or orientation when they're hired, just because life happens and they're busy kids. So having those YouTube videos, if they did miss a training, they can go in and watch that and look and see, well, I don't know how to pull the bleachers off the wall. I don't know how to build the guardrail. I don't know where these guardrails go. They can look at those, and before they even come to work, they should know exactly what they're doing. They shouldn't have to find anybody. They should know exactly where we are in our setup or breakdown and be able to jump right in pretty flawlessly. Overall, these were a success. Setup times decreased across the board for the tasks outlined in those videos and shorts. Our setups and breakdowns can be very, very lengthy. Um, but by creating these videos, it allowed the students to, like I said, just come in during a setup or a teardown and jump right in. They knew exactly where we were. They knew exactly what we needed, or they were able to kind of kickstart us and get it off the ground without having a manager, or supervisor, or professional staff there. The second training change was a student training handbook. We had a student training handbook in the past. It was very outdated. I think it was from when the Coliseum first opened, so that was in 2009 or 2008, I believe. So I created a short handbook with about 10 to 12 roles. that primarily outline the key duties for football and basketball game days. These are our most important game days, our highest attended game days, and along with graduation. I did not add that in there, but I'm thinking about it now. So these roles were ticket scanning, ticket selling, security, section ushers, greeters, kind of the whole 9 yards of what our gate operations look like on a game day. Um, but so I went step by step in that handbook of this is what you do when the person walks up. This is how you log into the iPad to be able to sell tickets. This is the login to sell tickets, and this is the login to scan tickets. Just because we want to be able to track what we sell differently from tracking what we scan in. Um, After sending that to students, it allowed for more variety in roles for students on game days and created a better work experience for us as professional staff, and it created a better work experience for them as students. It allowed them to polish skills that they would not have had before. For example, we had a student that really just kind of dove into this handbook and really kind of read it and studied it. And he had always been someone that we kind of put as a section usher, which is a lower priority role on game day. And all of a sudden now he's working security. He's one of our lead security guys. By just giving them the resource in front of them and allowing them to understand it in their own words and in their own perception as they would like to read it, it created an atmosphere for us that allowed more people to be interchangeable. And that was very, very crucial for us. That was one of my main goals of this project. So we definitely accomplished that with the student training handbook. It's posted in our staff group me for constant access when they have questions about a specific role. There are times during our event days and our setups that they're not always going to be able to find a superior right away. So if they don't know how to sell a ticket or if they don't know how to scan a ticket and they're kind of stuck with the situation right in front of them, having that handbook now creates that constant access that I was aiming for at the beginning of this project. I didn't completely change our entire training methods. We've always done in-house sessions. I think these have always been the most beneficial of our sessions. We try to have 2 to 3 per semester, just about various different things, whether it's, hey, we're just going to take a walk of the Coliseum in football and familiarize ourselves with the directions of the building and the facility, or it's, hey, we're going to do a security walkthrough today and a security training mock kind of operation or all the way to parking. So we did perform an in-house session before our spring football game on security and parking operations. UPD did come in and assist with this. They were very beneficial. Having a security professional there to assist with that is really important to me. They're kind of telling our students this is what you need to look for. That you guys are the first line of defense. Having active eyes, having kind of reading between the margins with people. A smaller group of students did attend that had not worked these roles before. We didn't need everyone there. Like I said, in the past, we've really relied on probably about 5 to 8 students to carry our security team for us. And those students just didn't need to attend because they're really good at what they do. It was just a little repetitive for them. So a smaller group of students attended that. We allowed them to ask any questions they wanted about the roles. And then we had them do a mock parking and security operation before our training adjourned. I think this was our most important part of training. Like I said, I think it's been the most successful historically since I've kind of taken over our student staff administration. Um, this allowed for us to be almost completely interchangeable with staffing on event days due to the precision and stress level of security and parking on a football or graduation day. You're dealing with thousands upon thousands of people and thousands upon thousands of vehicles coming in and out of a tight space, whether it's a parking lot or an entry gate. So having the opportunity to really take one student and put them there, but if that student has to go to the bathroom, I can grab a section usher or a ticket scanner or just someone from across the road in a parking lot while they're not too busy to come over and work that security gate is very, very important for us. Moving on to our student survey, before I added any changes to the training or amendments to the training, I sent a survey, just a Google form of about 10 questions to my staff in our group me. Questions such as what kinds of trainings do you think are necessary for this job were on there? Do you feel prepared when you come to work? What role do you feel takes the most training were all included on there, along with a few more. Really, the feedback I got was parking and security. It takes the most work. Um, from a general standpoint. We do operate other roles like a libero tracker or a stat tracker for volleyball, but that's such a specialized role that I didn't include that. But there is a video in the handbook now of how to be a libero tracker. It's a really good video. This allowed for students to be honest in their thoughts and find kind of the baseline of my entire project. I didn't really know where to go with it at first. I needed my students' feedback because what I didn't want to happen is me to do this project and then students be like, well, we didn't really need it. I wanted to do this to really be able to optimize our student staff and improve within the margins with the resources that we're given. So from this student survey, about 60% of our student staff responded. I felt like that was a large enough number to get a pretty good gauge on what my student staff thought and how they thought they performed and what kind of characteristics we should look in when we hire people, if we do a good enough job now for preparing them to work, and then also what kind of trainings and modules do they think would really improve our staff performance. So after all of this was done, the survey, implementing training changes and additions and kind of alterations, looking forward to the summer and fall. Like I said earlier, I'd really like to have more in-house and workshop trainings, partnering with campus departments to carry these out. I think this creates an immersive, hands-on training environment, and I think those are the most successful. Sitting in front of a book or watching videos, you can do that at any job, right? We've all worked our retail job or our restaurant job in high school or undergrad. And those trainings just aren't the most successful. The only way in our world, in the facilities and operations world, is to do it. So by giving them the opportunity to run through a mock, how we did, I thought I loved what I saw. I loved the results that I saw from that. But moving on, continuously adding to the student staff handbook with new roles as we evolve our game day and event operations. As everyone knows, we're making our Division One transition. With that comes more visibility on the smaller details. So security and parking, and how easy is it to scan your ticket to gain entry, and how easy is it to be able to purchase a ticket. So continuously adding and changing our student staff handbook as we go to a new ticket platform, or as we are given another role like a replay technician for football or basketball or volleyball, or even what's been discussed is potentially putting production under events and facilities in the scores table. So staying on top of that and just still creating that 24/7 access, making it a current document, and keeping it posted in our group meet to where my students have access to that. I would also maybe like to see student supervisors lead trainings and supervise their peers more. I think hearing it from your boss is one thing, but I think hearing it from someone that's the same age as you, with the same experiences as you, can potentially be more beneficial. And then lastly, always being open-minded and seeking feedback from student staff on their training and preparation for this job, and what comes after this job or what other college jobs they may have. I think that it's my job as a supervisor of college students to prepare them for the life after college, and fortunately I'm given the opportunity to do that with the amount of students I have and the roles that they work, putting them in front of people and kind of forcing them to learn how to problem solve and learn how to critically think and learn how to just kind of do damage control and deal with people. We've all been outside in the world, whether it's at an airport or a restaurant or at a sporting event. People can be really unpleasant. We've seen it, or we've been the person themselves. And so having the opportunity to kind of deal with that situation as a student in undergrad, I think, is very important. But it's also important for me to continuously listen to my staff and seek their feedback on what may be working, or what maybe isn't working. So overall, I was really excited to complete this project and execute this project the way I did. I learned a lot of valuable things about myself as a manager. I learned a lot of valuable things about my staff and how to operate them in the present and looking forward.